Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. We have up here in the top left, as we continue to deep dive into the Terran vs. Zerg matchup, Ivory. He was in one ASL season. He was a little bit of an upset getting in. Definitely some of the stronger players he beat were in Zerg vs. Zerg. I don't expect Ivory to be back in ASL, or SSL it is, anytime soon. I actually think there's like 5 or 6 Zergs that are actually better than him that aren't making it in, but you never know. Obviously, he's shown that he's got the level to kind of qualify if the bracket goes correctly, which in and of itself is very impressive. His opponent is going to be sSak, who's in very good shape right now. Haven't casted a ton of sSak lately. I feel like the last game I did of him was maybe a Terran vs. Flash or something. But sSak is, you know, he's like a Terran player. I think that might be a good way to put it, because I feel like sSak doesn't have a ton of fans, and he's not rated super high by StarCraft fans either, because he's not like a guy that you ever think is going to win a championship. But every Terran player I know is like, oh yeah, no, sSak's really, really good. He's like, and he's kind of got a little bit of his own style. He's kind of like a more technical type of guy. He's gonna he's not like someone where you're like, whoa, he has so many units, it's so crazy, like he's expanding so quickly. He's more like he'll defend everything really well with smart build order choices and things, and you know, he'll find a nice timing. He's more likely to do something like 1-1-1 build. In fact, he was kind of famous for that for a little bit. You know, he's more likely, I would say, to get Goliath range on 2 bases, you know, that type of thing. Anyways, sSak is a Terran player. We Terran players all enjoy sSak and appreciate his great skills. So definitely someone I'm expecting to see in ASL. He's been in most of the seasons. Sorry, I really got to start calling it SSL. I'm trying to break it in. It's difficult to do. But anyways, we're on Deja Vu, 4-player map. He is going to scout Ivory first here, and he is making a wall in as well. So he's going to have a lot of options as far as what he wants to do build order-wise, right? You can go very light on Marines. You can go a little bit heavier and just hide it behind the wall. Obviously, there's an Overlord that's going to be watching this. And this is a very, very fast command center as well, because he did scout the Zerg player first. So he knows that it's like a hatchery first build. He doesn't need to make any Marines as of yet. He can go command center before the depot. This has actually gone out of style pretty heavily. Like, a lot of people, even if they scout Zerg first, prefer the second depot first. But like I said, he's a very technical player. So he likes to... it's again, not about the macro. It's not about the unit count. It's more about, like, almost like just smart usage of his tech, I guess. Yeah, it's hard exactly to... StarCraft's such a fluid game, and everyone at this level has to be able to kind of do everything, but trust me, it's a decent way to think about sSak. And you can see, right, like we're 3 minutes, 25 seconds, and he doesn't have a unit yet. There you go. His first Marine just pops out. So he's going to be going for a very fast +1. So this will probably be like a 4, maybe even a 5 barracks +1. Because he's done the wall and he went for a command center on 15 supply as opposed to after the depot, that's going to give him a little bit more wiggle room to possibly go for that 5th barracks, which is not common against 2 hatch, but is doable if you go command center first or that command center a bit quicker. He does keep this SCV kind of out in the front. The one thing to note is that he has so few units, he does have to be careful. Something like a Ling Flood actually could and probably would kill him here, especially if he loses this SCV. Like, if he loses the SCV, you'll see him go pretty defensive and maybe put an SCV in the wall and that type of thing. But he's trying to keep this alive. He's trying to keep an eye on what's going on. Ivory's actually making a creep colony, so he has no intention of flooding any Zerglings or anything like that. In the meantime, we have the Academy finishing up. Stim on the way. That +1's still going. He's so light on Marines here. This is really helping him to kind of bank up some more minerals, and we're going to see him add the barracks soon. So we'll see if that's going to be a 4 barracks play or a 5 barracks play. The only high-level player that I know in the world that would do anything other than 4 or 5 barracks here is Mihu, I've seen him go +1 rush 3 barracks, which is super weird, but I kind of like it, but there's no way sSak is going to do that. So there's the 4. And let's just see if he's going to throw down that 5th. It gets pretty all in if you put down the 5th. The 4, you can actually transition into science vessels and stuff. It's a huge difference. Every barracks is a huge difference in how much money you're spending, what you're able to build. So 6 Mutalisks on the way. He's completely skipped comsats to get more SCVs out, and he's starting his missile turrets exactly on time. Well, maybe a couple seconds early, but it's really good. Bunker in front of the depots. He doesn't want to deal with this at all. If you put the bunker behind, the mutas can micro here and hit the depots. If you put it in front, there's nowhere really to micro. They might be able to hit this one from this angle, but there's this turret too, as well as the bunker. It just isn't super worthwhile. The one bad thing about this is if he brings Zerglings with his mutas, he can snipe the bunker very quickly. But it is a very good bunker, unless they go super, super, super aggro with the Lings as well. Okay, so he's got the 4 barracks lined up, only a single missile turret here. This type of strategy will have less missile turrets than any other type of Terran strat, other than the weird new Goliath build, because you're going to be putting pressure on the map. That's how you keep the mutas out of your base. You make just enough so that you can defend this early part while you get your +1 in range, and then you start moving out and keep them out of your base via pressure. Can be a little bit trickier to do, especially for newer players, but definitely pretty sound strategically. So looking over at Ivory, he's making a 3rd base here. We've seen this a lot. No one's taking the main bases anymore. They're all taking this base so that they can easily take that 4th with no push. It's just all you have to do is anti-drop at that point. Factory on the way before 7 minutes. Wow. And he's actually adding more turrets. So this is not as aggressive a play as we sometimes see, as we normally see with this. He's mostly just done the zoning with the bio. I'm surprised that he got the factory up that quickly. That's like a really quick factory for 4 racks +1. Normally it's just like closer to 7 minutes, whereas this is like 6:30 or something he started it. So, and I know it's like a small point, but these are the little intricacies that can really change the way the game will end up looking. So Mutalisk Carapace actually was the choice here, by the way. This probably is a nod towards him thinking, like, I like calling it like battle mutas because they can actually stand and fight the Marines a bit better. But he was probably thinking this was a Valkyrie rush, which is pretty common for sSak anyway. So I think that's probably why he did that. Now, a couple Marines, he snuck out here, but you can see Ivory does have some units that were here, but I think he just didn't realize that those ran past. I think he was microing his mutas too heavily across the map. So he is actually going to lose at least a couple drones, I think. Oh, nice block, nice block. Oh, he does get the Senko one. So that was a really nice move. Anytime you can send Marines off like that, it's really, really nice. And Ivory, unfortunately for him, sent all of his mutas away to deal with that. Lots of Lings being made, and he does have lurker upgrades on the way. So the Ling muta count is pretty high. It looks like Ivory's kind of trying to play like Sulky here a little bit. The 5th rack's on the way, the 2 starports coming up. But basically Sulky in these types of situations would just go for an army crush where he makes a lot of Lings and mutas and just kills this army. Ivory's not going to be able to kill this army. His army is not going to kill this army. He has +1 carapace, which is really nice. This is such a good ball of Marine medic here. You're not going to beat that with this. And he's having a hard time coming in. You can notice how sSak is keeping mostly a flat line towards the mutas. That's how you get all your Marines to shoot at once and punish the mutas for trying to micro in. But he has the lurkers in time, so he's completely safe. What? Psycho. Yeah, I don't know, man. It was 3 stacked lurkers, a sunken, and that many mutas were right nearby. Like, there was no universe in which you're going to break that. A lot of Terrans feel like they do have to bust Zerg right now. That's why we're doing this kind of deep dive. I want to see what people are up to with SK Terran. But yeah, or just in the matchup in general. Dude, sSak is in trouble right now. I think sSak is actually literally dead. This already looks unwinnable to me. So, I don't think that Ivory was actually going for this strategy at all. I think it fell into his lap. But there was a metagame almost a year ago now where it would be heavy Mutalisk harassment into getting 5 lurkers in front of your opponent's base. And that would just kill people that didn't go siege tank. Oh, I'm surprised he's continuing to try to push in. He's like giving up lurkers. You can just sit in a containment arc here and he literally can't break. So sSak is taking a gigantic risk by loading up all these dropships. Okay. He's trying to find a way out. Defiler Mound is on the way. So the clock is ticking. And he's making some vessels now. Dude, I don't know, man. Like, the dropships really have to get something done. That's 8 lurkers out there. If one Defiler shows up, you lose. Okay, he's repositioned these so many times at this point. He's just looking for he knows how screwed he is, so he's just taking a giant risk. And he's going to fly by these mutas that are just barely out of position and just barely miss that. There are 2 Scourge here that it looks like he's probably going to fly into. Yep. And now he's going to fly his mutas back. He has plenty of links. Yeah, he should be able to hold this. He will lose a few drones here for sure. But as the mutas come back... Okay, so it's like 4 or 5 drones dead. No, more than that, actually. A lot of drones died. You don't even need to kill those. Doesn't matter. Just clear this out. Yeah. So he does clear that. Ivory, by the way, still has 37 drones even after that drop. This is just... He can't break out of here. Like, he can try to drop again. But Marines and Medics just can't engage this many lurkers. And the thing is, you might look at this and be like, well, damn, how do you beat this? This isn't the problem right now. Like, this metagame was kind of solved before. What you do is you don't suicide your whole army up here. Okay? If you have all those Marines and Medics just kind of spread out, yeah, GG. If you have all those Marines and Medics just kind of spread out, the lurkers can't get here. There's no way for them to get up here and contain you. So, or if you happen to open with 1 factory, 1 starport, this strategy doesn't work either. Which is why people go really heavy Mutalisk harassment to get there, because then you're more likely to go double starport to counter the mutas. Anyways, sSak trying to break this position, that was a critical error. But you know, I'm sorry to be a little bit of a broken record, but a lot of Terrans feel like SK Terran can't play late game right now. So he might have felt like that was his best chance. Like, maybe if the mutas were further away, he breaks it a little bit cleaner. I don't think it was ever going to be the right choice, though. Anyways, GG's. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.